Latin America is a region of remarkable diversity, encompassing lush rainforests, vibrant cultures, and a rich history. Yet, beneath this surface beauty lies a persistent issue that has plagued the continent for centuries: poverty. Despite its vast resources and potential, Latinos remain disproportionately poor compared to other parts of the world. In this exploration, we delve into the complex factors that contribute to the enduring poverty in Latin America, seeking to understand the historical, social, and economic forces that have shaped the region's destiny, and let you know the aspects in which you are unaware. When you see the north side, you see massive development, advancement in technology, growth in economy, and a brighter future. But when you see on the opposite side, you see absolutely the opposite, which raises questions like, why has no country in Ibero-America reached living standards like those enjoyed by other countries? Latin America has vast natural resources and a talented population. Then why has the region remained so poor compared with its northern neighbors? A few decades ago, their per capita income was higher than in many Asian countries. Why hasn't the region been able to grow as fast as Asia? In this video, we will try to figure out the answers to all these questions. Around 36% of people in this region live in poverty, which is the same as it was 10 years ago. Even though incomes have increased a bit since the 1980s, it's not good news that 1 in 3 people still live in poverty. Additionally, the number of people in extreme poverty went up from 13% in 1987 to 16% in 1997. When we compare this to East Asia, the situation looks worse. For instance, between 1986 and 1995, Malaysia reduced its poverty rate by 2/3, and Thailand's poverty rate went down by half, from 26% to 13%. The main reason for this difference is slow economic growth. In Latin America, no country has reached that high a level of development, though a few are in the middle. One big reason for this gap is protectionism. Back in the 1950s, they tried to grow their industries by shielding themselves from foreign competition. This plan failed, and the protected industries did not grow. This also made Latin America vulnerable to the debt crisis of the 1980s. Over the last 10 years, these economies only grew by 1.3% per capita on average, despite being close to the rapidly growing US economy of the 1990s. Latin America faces several challenges that affect its development. First, a large part of the region is in the tropics, which brings more difficulties like diseases and being far from important markets. Second, they adopted civil law traditions after gaining independence, which are less favorable for economic growth compared to common law systems, which involve judges playing a more active role. Third, their focus on large agricultural plantations is different from the north, which had smaller and more diverse farms. This led to variations in politics, property rights, and the size of the middle class. Lastly, the South has weaker institutions compared to the North, and this also impacts the region's progress. In North America, the colonies were mainly established for settlement. England funded charters to create settlements, and these colonies had a degree of autonomy from the English crown. This autonomy allowed the United States and Canada to govern themselves for many years before gaining independence. In contrast, Spanish and Portuguese colonies in Latin America had limited autonomy, which led to challenges when they sought independence. Another critical aspect is the economic consequences of colonial rule. Their colonies were focused on resource exploitation, leading to a society with significant inequality between the wealthy landowners and the workers or slaves. Settlement colonies had a more balanced distribution of wealth and a growing middle class, which facilitated industrialization and the creation of prosperity. Climatic conditions also play a vital role, such as high temperatures, humidity, and dense jungles, making economic development challenging. In contrast, regions in the northern and southern hemispheres with temperate climates are more suitable for settlement and economic growth. Plus, when South American countries gained independence, they had to deal with existing nations which were once colonies of Spain or Portugal. Unlike the United States, South American nations couldn't come together as one country. Instead, they remained divided, fought each other, and pursued different goals. This division was not good for creating wealth. The US and Canada embraced the changes that came with industrialization and contributed to it. Although the change from an agricultural to an industrial society was not painless and caused a civil war, the US kept on track and prospered. Latin America, on the other hand, did not take advantage of industrialization and did a poor job of transforming society to adapt to the change. As a result, we saw countless and pointless revolts, revolutions, and civil wars. We have gone back and forth, changing our mind about which way to go, that we wind up going nowhere. We will have periods of years and sometimes even decades of going in the right direction, only to reach the conclusion that it is now safe to turn around and go in the opposite direction. As a result, we drift as the rest of the world moves forward. Besides all of these, more challenges have been waiting in front of Latin America's way, and the main reason is corruption. Corruption has been a persistent challenge in many of these countries, contributing significantly to economic underdevelopment and poverty. In these nations, corrupt practices often penetrate various levels of government, from local authorities to high-ranking officials. This widespread corruption undermines public trust in institutions, hampers foreign investment, and diverts funds meant for critical public services like education, healthcare, and infrastructure into the pockets of the corrupt elite. It causes income inequality. They had no incentive to create efficient governments that promote wealth creation. A prime example of this situation is Venezuela. It used to be a wealthy oil-producing nation, but is now poor and struggling to meet its people's basic needs. Despite having control over the world's largest oil reserves, the only explanation for this decline is a combination of corruption and inefficiency within the government, as the benefits of economic growth tend to accrue to the well-connected rather than the broader population. Additionally, the lack of transparency and accountability in many Latin American governments has perpetuated a cycle of corruption, making it difficult to break free from the chains of poverty and underdevelopment. To address this issue, these nations must prioritize anti-corruption measures, strengthen their legal frameworks, and promote good governance to create a more equitable and prosperous future. The 1980s were a tough time for Latin America. It's often called the lost decade because, by the end of it, people's average income was about the same as it was at the beginning. Between 1982 and 1984, things got especially bad in some countries, with deep economic troubles lasting for 2 or even 3 years. Recovering from this was a slow process. After going through this tough time, they started to look more at the world and realized how important it is to keep their financial house in order. This means making sure they don't spend more than they have and keeping prices stable so money doesn't lose its value. The region also worked on making better rules and organizations. For example, in the 1990s and 2000s, some countries made their central banks more independent and created rules about how much they can spend in good times and bad. These changes have helped Latin America handle more recent crises better. The region has also faced frequent changes in leadership, government instability, and a history of political turmoil, making it challenging to implement consistent and effective policies for economic growth. Protectionist trade policies, which aim to shield domestic industries from international competition, limited economic diversification and innovation. These policies often led to inefficiencies and hindered international trade. Additionally, income inequality has persisted, with a small wealthy elite holding a significant portion of the region's wealth, while a large segment of the population remains impoverished. Economic dependence, inefficient bureaucracy, and infrastructure gaps have played substantial roles in perpetuating poverty in Latin America. Many countries in the region have historically relied heavily on a narrow range of commodities for export, making their economies vulnerable to fluctuations in global commodity prices. This dependence has hindered economic diversification and innovation. Additionally, inefficient bureaucracies and unmanageable administrative processes have created barriers to business growth and foreign investment, stifling economic progress. Furthermore, inadequate infrastructure, including transportation, energy, and public services, has impeded economic development and limited access to opportunities, particularly in rural areas. High levels of crime and violence in some regions deter investment and economic development. These factors combined have hindered their ability to achieve sustained economic development. Latin American countries have both things that make them similar and things that make them different. They have different histories, cultures, and ways of doing things. Some are rich and some are poor. They have different types of governments and trades with other countries in various ways, but many of them have a shared history with Spain and Portugal. And they're in the same part of the world as the United States and Canada. Even so, it's essential to remember that each Latin American country is unique and has its own characteristics, but their fate seems to be the same in terms of development. The persistent challenges faced by them on their path to development are multifaceted and deeply rooted in historical, economic, and political factors. While the region possesses immense potential and abundant resources, a history of political instability, protectionist policies, income inequality, economic dependence, inefficient bureaucracy and infrastructure gaps, and much more have collectively contributed to the enduring issue of poverty. However, it is essential to recognize that Latin America is a diverse region with unique opportunities and challenges in each country. Overcoming poverty and achieving lasting prosperity will require concerted efforts in policy reform, investment in education and infrastructure, and a commitment to addressing the systemic issues that have hindered progress. With the right strategies and international cooperation, they can aspire to a more prosperous and equitable future for all its people. Do let us know your thoughts on why Latin America remains poorer than others. Comment down below on what you think and leave a like if you find value in the content we do on this channel. Hit the subscribe button for all the latest updates, and we'll see you in the next video.